Welcome inside another edition of Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media. CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage of the Boston Celtics. Welcome inside a Monday Matless Mailbag here on Celtics Roundtable. Myself alongside Jon Ignal, Sam Sheehan, and Lucky's Pipe. Coming at you the morning of the second-to-last preseason game. Take on Philly. TD Garden at 7:30. We're going to help you get your sort of prep for that, kind of with some of the questions we've thrown out here. But you guys know how this works. You guys can send us questions at our Twitter handle, at CLNS Roundtable. You can do so also by giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. Today's show, powered by Greats. Go to greats.com and use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for $15 off some fresh kicks. But we want to start today's show because we've had, of course, the ticking time bomb that is the clock to Marcus Smart's extension. Got a little bit more, I don't know, maybe a little clearer maybe, with the Denver Nuggets signing Gary Harris to a 4-year, $74 or $84 million deal if he gets all those incentives. Our capologist is Sam Sheehan. Lucky to have him on the show. Sam, does this help you a little bit in terms of trying to gauge what Marcus Smart's overall market is here?
I mean, I guess that's part of the thing with, markets and things for players is, it's a two-way thing. It's not just what will you pay for a player, it's what will someone else pay for a player. And, Gary Harris is, I'd say probably a little bit more of a skilled offensive player, but he's not, but a very similar role to Marcus in that he's a two-guard who defensively is pretty locked down. So, he's a pretty good test case in that way. I think this is a huge mistake by the Nuggets, and that's not necessarily because Gary Harris doesn't deserve the money or, that this is, that it's more just where they are developmentally as a team. I think the Celtics could end up paying something like this if they need to, just in terms of the tax in order to get an extension done with Marcus to prevent him from hitting restricted free agency. But, for those people who don't know, with restricted free agency, you have the right to match a contract that another team offers a client, and that's where we're heading with Marcus. So they've got like another month or so to finalize that and get a deal done with him. I don't think that they're gonna, need to. I think they're gonna need to be going forward with this, just to make sure they're gonna need to match Marcus. They're going to have the rights to match, and I do not think that there's going to be another team out there that's going to put that out and make that deal for him.
Yeah, is anybody going to give Marcus Smart $84 million that aren't in the Celtics? We kind of talked about this before we went to back of the Brinks truck. It's the Brinks truck gathered and sponsored by Lucky's Pipe.
Oh, yeah. Kickstart shit.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. Like, is there a team out there that's going to give Marcus Smart that kind of deal? And as you alluded to, Sam, like there's Paul George and there's LeBron James. Like, not everybody can afford those guys, and they're clearly going to make lists of teams they're going to want to go to and not go to. So not everybody's going to be involved in that. But there are going to be second tier, third tier guys. Like, where does Marcus Smart fall in that pantheon? Is a terrific question. And how much is he worth, like, more to the Celtics than he is to anybody else? I'd say yes, just because he's sort of the heart and soul of how they play. Mm-hmm. You heard Brad say it this past weekend about how he showed the team film of Marcus Smart in that game against Philly, dive onto the floor for a loose ball, picking it up, getting to Rozier, who threw an alley-oop to Gershon, who kind of like laid it in a little bit. It's like that's why we love Marcus around that kind of stuff. So I have like Danny's in a tough spot because of how much Marcus means to them, but at the same time, like he has to kind of gauge his own salary cap and make it worth it for him. Like I have a hard time coming up with Marcus's number because a lot of the things that he's good at, again, don't show up in a box score.
But here's the thing: is like I think it's up to Smart to be like, I think he's gonna bet on himself. So it's really less about what Danny's gonna do and more about like Smart just waiting to see if somebody offers him his like a big payday because he fixed all of the things that he said he's working on, like shooting and his weight and conditioning and all that stuff, and he's still going to be a defensive player of the year candidate. So, and then it's kind of out of your hands. It's like, do you match? And I think it's up to Danny to match because I think he is an integral part, but we'll see.
I mean, it can go the other way. This is why we obviously didn't see a lot of extensions get done in the past few years, and people are going to look at contracts like Tyler Johnson or Alan Crabb's during that insane year when they rejected cap smoothing, and all of a sudden all this money hit the market. Everyone spent like crazy, and now so many of those contracts are albatrosses.
Yeah, look at Evan Turner or Alan Crabb out there in Portland, or now Alan Crabb with Brooklyn.
With Brooklyn, yeah, and I just think that, this is more the outlier. I think we saw some other extensions get done this year, like this offseason, that are much closer to where I expect, the sort of the restricted free agency with those extensions, teams trying to extend their players to keep them from hitting restricted free agency. That's much more where I think it's going to be, because the money is not out there. People don't have cap space. Guys are locked into. You don't have as many places to dump salary. Look at all the dead contracts that even a bottom feeder like Brooklyn has on their books. They're carrying around DeMarre Carroll and Nicholson and Mozgov and just all of these enormous contracts. There's no. They're not going to be able to take that money back on. Portland is capped out. So many of these teams that have traditionally had this space are not going to have this space. So I just don't see which team is going to make that offer to Marcus Smart. Like maybe the Hawks, possibly like the Bulls, depending on what happens.
We don't know. It could be the Lakers. Like, the Lakers could strike out with all the big guys that they're rumored to get every year, but, like, who knows? And then they're going to be walking around with a lot of cap space, and I don't want to lose Smart to, like, somebody like that, so pay them.
Yeah, and we're judging Smart based on what we've seen thus far in his career, but if you watched any preseason, it's a new Marcus Smart. Skinny Marcus, I think you have to rethink what we see in the potential. I mean, if he can hit the three, Lucky, what's he shooting from preseason? That sounds like a max money kind of guy to me. You might have to max that out and lock him up.
Has anyone ever? That's literally double what like most average NBA players shoot. So I think he's worth twice as much.
What did
Curry only shoots 40%?
Guys,
like Marcus is shooting.
Marcus
70.
can double that. Yeah.
Guys, check out our analytics shows on Wednesdays. This is the kind of analysis you can get from only the Roundtable guys, where we crunch these numbers and do it for you. Twice the shooting percentage, twice the money.
Right. You only get that hard-hitting type of content right here. No. Celtics Roundtable.
Well, what did Danny LaRue say he was worth this summer for in the trade market? Didn't he say like a second-round pick Marcus Smart was worth?
That's crazy.
When they did their extension, they did their mock extension offseason, and I think they ended up somewhere between 12 and 16 million, which is about right, I think, per year.
Well,
so
you can look at some of the other guys got. Norman Powell got 4 years, $42 million. Roberson, sort of like a guy that can't shoot, but like even worse than Marcus is. People just are blatantly leaving him open. 3 years, $30 million. Richardson, he got 4 years, $42. TJ Warren just re-upped with the Suns, 4 years, $50. Like the 4 years, $50. That would be, I think, a sort of a blessing for Marcus Smart. That's not a lot of money, I don't think, for a guy that really impacts the game.
All those players they don't impact winning. All I know is Smart has not missed the playoffs. So where's that player on this list?
Again, where are you wrong? You can't be wrong there.
Yeah.
I think the Nerlens Noel case is very interesting. Like, just because that's a guy that bet on himself and lost, and now he's got to do it again. True. To like get an actual offer in unrestricted free agency next year. And again, you bring up the same point, Sam, with like there's a lot of money drawing up, there's a lot of cap space drawing up, and not a lot of teams have a ton of money. And now if you're Nerlens Noel and you're the same guy you've been the past couple of years, not a lot of improvement, like what are you really paying a lot of money for, right? So like with Marcus, the improvements in certain areas can make him so much money. That like the increased 3-point percentage would do wonders for his checkbook. And I like what we've seen so far. He still seems like he's the same hustle type of guy. He looks unbelievable. The shot looks great. He looks more confident. He's still posting up smaller guys so far, which is something I hope he doesn't lose. I know he's lost a bunch of weight, but hopefully his ability to post guys up doesn't go too much anywhere because he's still got a lot of lower body strength. I don't think Smart's going to shoot like an outrageous amount from 3-point range, but I think it'll be enough to the point where people are like, okay, we have to start thinking about like the next version of Marcus Smart. If he's going to do that next tick up again, like what is he really going to be worth? And that's up to Brad and Danny to kind of figure out if he's worth that much to the Celtics franchise. I think he is. I think Brad thinks he is. It's just going to be kind of up to Danny to see how much, and Wick and Steve too, to find out how deep they want to go. Remember, we had Albert Nahmed from HeHoots.com on the show like months ago when we were trying to figure out if they could fit Gordon Hayward and Paul George into this onto the Celtics roster, and he was pretty adamant that, you know, as teams start to think and figure out where they are in the landscape, like, you're going to start having to spend a lot in the luxury tax in order to have a team that's competent on the floor. Like, that's the way Golden State has changed the game. You've seen, you know, the Houston Rockets get very creative in some of their bookmaking. You've seen the Oklahoma City Thunder to say, like, okay, we're going to have a bunch of max guys on this roster with Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and Melo, and we'll have to go deep in luxury tax to have all those guys. Maybe the Celtics brain trust is going to say, okay, that's got to be us too. I know Mike Zarin is an absolute genius when it comes to figuring this stuff out, but they might have to push all their chips in the middle of the table with this roster. And I know it's a little scary, but I you know, that's the way their cards are. That's better than a lot of the other teams in the NBA right now, for sure.
Yeah, I think I just really think that what's going to be important for the Celtics is that they're quickly going to see, you know, they're going to be in the luxury tax probably. I think if they do re-sign Smart to something like 12 to 13 million, every million they pay Smart is a million they're going to be over the luxury tax, because they are probably going to be over the luxury tax next year. And, you know, maybe depending on where if the Lakers pick conveys or not, and that ends up being like a Kings pick, that could change a little bit. But, you know, I think it also depends on how competitive do you view yourself, you know, because the thing about the luxury tax is it accumulates, and you get into what's known as a repeater tax. So the issue isn't so much in the money itself, it's that later, if you pay the tax in one season, later on down the road, if you might trigger that repeater tax in another season when you are trying to compete, which the Celtics might be doing. You know, we want them to have a championship window that's going to be multiple years long here coming up in the next half decade. So do you want to pay the tax during a season when you might not be as strong of a contender, and then get yourself into that much more punitive repeater tax where you might be paying $20-30 million more just because you paid the tax during a previous season? I don't know. These are all things to like consider, and maybe, you know, that's why that arithmetic isn't something as simple as, well, what's the big deal about paying Marcus Smart $4 million extra? So, you know, those are some of the considerations that Danny and those guys need to make. However, I will say Marcus Smart is the most fun player, the longest tenured Celtic. Give him the captaincy. Let's keep Marcus Smart here. $20 million per if it requires it. Let's go. Woo!
You know, it's not really simple sometimes for like Danny and Mike Zarin and the brain trust are going to the Celtics to keep all those numbers straight. It's not simple. But you know what's really simple? Woo! Looking good with Greats. This episode is sponsored by Greats, makers of the all-time greats, the classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers that are sold at a great price. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They sell all the greats, classic styles made the best for less. There's a wide selection of men's and ladies' shoes for you to pick from. Versatile styles, suitable for any occasion like these guys. I wear them with a pair of jeans, I wear them with a suit. You can wear these, anything in between. If you get black or brown, they're the most versatile colors you could possibly have in your wardrobe. Get a pair of Greats today to enhance your sneaker game. Tons of different colors and materials to choose from. I have the leather ones that are dope. You can also get the mesh ones. And they come in a whole bunch of different colors. If you want to keep it like fall related right now, they have like a sweet sage green. You can keep it with the brown. There's a pink pair that would go really killer with this current blazer I have on right now that I'm probably going to have to own at some point in my life. And the best sellers, I'm telling you, and start with this one right here, the Royales, the Royal Leather Lace-Ups, and the Worcester Slip-Ons. These are so comfortable. Starting to kind of really break them in the more that I wear them, but I'm going to have to be really careful about wearing them because the white bottom I know a lot of people are worried about. Also, if you want to clean these, get the Mr. Clean magic eraser, some toothpaste, and a toothbrush that's like the softer ones, not with like the plastic stuff on it, and go to town on these white bottoms. They'll be crisp every time you wear them. You want a pair for yourself? I know you do. Just go to greats.com and during your checkout add the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your total purchase. That's the great people at greats.com. Use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your next purchase. Again, killer shoes. Killer, killer, killer. Levy's getting some soon, and you should all be jealous because they're really killer. I want to get to a fan question before we get to our next one about Philly, and it comes from one of our biggest fans, Sheehan Fan 69, who is one of the best accounts on the internet. He wants to know how awesome the starting lineup was the other night, and I got to tell you, I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen these guys, they move the ball. Something that really sticks out to me, I know normally we use the mailbag for, like, joshing around, but we actually have, like, real basketball to talk about for the first time in, like, forever.
Yes.
And, like,
awesome.
Something that I just keep coming back to, and it really hit the nail home, is just how important Al Horford is going to be this year, and just in how much trouble they're going to be in if he goes down for an extended period of time. Like, just watching Al, you just see how important he is to unlocking all of these guys and just making this whole starting unit, you know, just being that extra little bit of grease that helps that ball fly around and just finding the right guys. He's the guy who's been in the system. He's, you know, one of the 4 returning Celtics. He's helping Kyrie and Gordon and some of these other guys find, you know, their place and spot on these rosters. And, you know, it's just, you really see the benefit. And you really see a team that, I think could, you know, they're probably not better than Golden State, but, you know, they will not get embarrassed, I do not think, if they beat the Golden State Warriors in the finals, which I think is kind of the goal here, to at least be in it in case, like, injuries happen. So I'm really excited for the season, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I like the 2 iterations we've seen of the quote-unquote starting lineup so far, you know, with the Tatum and Baines pieces being interchangeable so far. I like the ball doesn't stop with, like, anybody, and even every once in a while, like Kyrie at the end of the shot clock has to go ISO, but I thought the way the ball flies around when Kyrie's on the floor is spectacular, and, like, as you said, Sheehan, like, Al only feeds into that. Baines feeds into that. Jalen doesn't try to do too much when he's on the floor of the stars, which I like. He kind of knows that, like, okay, if you get the ball and you see a place to attack, take it. If you have an open shot, shoot it. But if not, like, move the ball along and let's see if we can get a better shot. You know, Hayward's an excellent playmaker from that position, and Kyrie's starting to already fill into his zone. So, yeah, the starting lineup is already awesome. And for those reasons, like, offensively, it's just been fun to watch. The first game was Charlotte. Lucky you went riffed on it for a while. Like, every shot was Popovich's favorite wide ass open shots, and it felt like the first 10 minutes of that game, as you look at, like, they're just missing. There's just nobody. There's no defender within, like, 5 feet of them, and they're all just missing. And it's like, whatever. Like, it's the first game they've played together, you know, on a basketball floor against another team in forever, and they're just missing shots. Like, I can live with that. The system looks like it's fantastic right now.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see who's going to start at the 4 next game against Philly. I think there's 4 guys you can make the case for when the season starts to start at that 4 spot between Marcus Morris, Al Horford, if Baines starts, Jason Tatum, and the dark horse Daniel Tice. I really don't think you can go wrong with any of those guys. Morris and Baines are probably going to start, most likely Morris, but at the beginning of the year. But if Jason Tatum's ready to compete at a high level earlier than we thought, I think if you can have him in the starting lineup, it just changes the game because he's so versatile, so long. And it seems like he gets it. He's in the right place at the right time, and he can put the ball in the basket. It's funny that Marcus Morris is the most unknown just because we haven't seen him. We only judge him on how he paired with Stan Van Gundy and Hornacek in the past. I'm excited to see what Marcus will bring on Monday.
Yeah, I like the lineup with Jason. I almost said Jason Tatum, but with Tatum, because it shows how versatile they are. But I think when we get to the regular season, we'll see it rotate between Baines and Morris, and I hope they do that. Like, based on the matchup, I think that would be really cool because I've loved everything I've seen from Baines. Like, he's really, like, stout in the post, like, contesting any shot that he's in front of. He's gotten a couple handful of blocks, so he's looked good. But if they need to go more mobile with length and speed, they can go with Morris, or maybe if Tatum gets going like this, he'll. But
I kind of like the idea of Morris coming off the bench because you bring him and Smart in the game with Baines and Terry, and that's athletic, that's strong, and that's mean. I think that's a really good recipe. Because the second unit
lineup
is the big question mark, but it could be a good pairing.
Yeah, I like Baines there. I like the fact that he can hit that like little 12-foot, 15-foot jump shot, and it's almost automatic. And I know Morris can do that too. That's the kind of the beauty of Marcus Morris. He's a great spot-up shooter. I detailed it a couple of podcasts ago with Zaire talking about how Morris, if he were to get through his trial, which he's done now, how he could be a nice piece for Boston, a guy that can hit a bunch of just spot-up shots, one dribble pull-ups, no dribble pull-ups, and really fit this offense really seamlessly. Baines has done that and given them an edge just on the blocks, and how important that is, because like Al, for there's many good things that Al does, like he's not a banger down low. He's just not. He doesn't have that type of game. He doesn't have that type of body. He's a little bit leaner. He runs the floor really well. He likes to play out in space because he can dribble the ball a little bit, can move the ball a little bit. Whereas Baines, you can just anchor him down there, and he can just kind of push guys out of the way, clear some room, grab an offensive rebound, throw it back out, or collect the defensive rebound and start the fast break. So I like the fit with Baines. I think the matchup, having it being matchup dependent is an interesting thing. But I like Baines solidifying that right now. Like he's really brought a little edge to the Celtics. And I know we want to get to one last question, but I think we have to postpone that one just because I think we're running out of time, unfortunately. There's a lot more questions to go. There's a lot more season to go. Luckily for you guys, this is just the start of the season, with the regular season just coming about a week, only about 8 days from today. So stay tuned for more episodes. Myself and Zaire will be coming at you tomorrow morning with a Tuesday tirade. It'll probably be based off the game tonight, so make sure you watch the game. Tune in tomorrow. Check us out on our YouTube channel at CLNS Media. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, what's up? Give us a like button. Hit that like button. Give us some subscription if you want. Thank you to 10,000 followers. You guys are awesome. Again, we'll be back with more from Zaire. Want to thank Greats, the all-time greats. Go to greats.com for your next pair of shoes. Use the Celtics code, or the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your next purchase. Again, we'll come back tomorrow morning with more on the Boston Celtics. For Sam Sheehan, Jon Ignal, Lucky's Pipe, I'm Evan Valenti. We'll see you next time.